Hey, AZ Build 3433 here once again. This is just a follow-up video to the last video in which I indicated on my Westwind stove here that one of my extenders on here, the aluminum extenders that had actually epoxied on here, had fallen off after a dry baking video that I had done several weeks ago. And I was just waiting for the torch that I bought to come in, that I was going to use the Alumiweld welding rods, the aluminum welding rods, to try and weld these back on again with aluminum weld rod. And I did get it in. I got this as a Benzomatic TS4000 torch that I got in. I bought this off of Amazon. It's about $35, $36 on Amazon. I got that from there, but you can get it at Home Depot. I'm sure I saw it there this weekend for $35 there also. And this really works well. It did a really nice job. It does not have flow control. It just has an on-off button here. It does have a button on the top here that you can, it's like a continuous, so you don't have to keep depressing this button here, the red button. But you know, it works very, very nice. It does a really nice job. But you can see from actually the first pictures that I took between panels 1, 2, and 3, that my technique certainly on number 1 was not very good, and it did get better between 2 and 3, and I was quite happy after that. I have never done this kind of brazing or welding, you might call it, with this type of, it's fluxless, non-flux type welding rod, and I think it worked out very nicely. And I'm kind of eager to try this with the putting a stove together with it. And we'll wait and see how that works out. This may be the new process coming that'll replace epoxy for a lot of people. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I guess only time will tell. I held it with a pair of vice grips, and that worked out real nice, and worked out good. Now, the one thing that you will find, that if you buy this from Harbor Freight, comes in a pack of 8 rods. They're 18 inches long, but on the inside, it looks like just a label, but actually it's a sleeve of instructions on the inside. So if you're going to buy this, it's best to take that sleeve out and then read through the instructions. They're somewhat limited, but they give you some insight on what you might want to do. Now, one thing, and I'm not bad-mouthing Digitizer 101 or anything, but they do say on the instructions here not to immerse it in water when it's hot, because that can cause cracking. And so I'm not saying anything, this Digitizer, I don't know if he knew that this had some type of instructions on the inside or not, but I'm not too sure with the small sections that we're working on with stoves that that's a real problem. Sometimes people use these for aluminum castings or something like that, which might cause a problem, cracking, when you're using a large amount or a larger crack or something like that. Maybe that has to do more than this limited amount that we're using these for. So, but anyway, that's the instructions are on the inside here. Other than that, I did say when I first got the torch, I had asked a couple of people I found some videos of people that were using this torch, and I commented on there and asked them, because I didn't have anything other than the Coleman propane tanks. I didn't have a tank. This is actually one I bought. It's a Benzomatic tank that I bought just this weekend at the Home Depot. These are about $3 at Home Depot. So I have, maybe 20 Coleman propane tanks, and I wasn't too sure whether or not I could use this with that, but it does attach to a Coleman propane tank, and that's what I used when I did the weld on these, and it worked just perfectly. No problem whatsoever. But I thought, well, this one is a little bit smaller in diameter, longer and smaller in diameter, a little easier to handle in your hand. The Colemans are a little bit larger, and I don't know, they're just a little bit more bulky than these are. So it's going to be interesting to see how well this one works. Hopefully I'm going to be able to do some additional work on some of the stoves that I have ideas for. I've got some stock coming in from some sources that I'm going to use on some ideas that I have for some stoves. But also on the setup, you'll see I did some setup pictures also on number 1 panel, which you'll see on the setup on the number 1 panel. I just had it sitting or clamped on in a vise. wow, as soon as I put heat to that sucker, the thing just, the whole plate just bent over at about a 30-degree angle. I actually had to bend it back after it cooled down, and I got it pretty good. There's no distortion right now, but you'll see in the other pictures on that I put a setup on there with a piece of wood extended out from my vise. I think the only thing you'll see that there's some scorching done on the piece of wood. The only thing I probably would have done any differently there would have been to wrap maybe some aluminum foil around the piece of wood, and maybe I wouldn't have had the scorching there, but it really didn't hurt anything that badly. So anyway, that's what I've got going right now with the Alumiweld rods. And if you have any questions or comments or ideas, please let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.